Going to start in a minute. I am in my downtown office, so you might see people back and forth, or have some bleed through the wall through the walls if they put their clients on speaker. So every once in a while, I think we're on this side of the street today, so you might not hear any like sirens or anything like that. We'll just hold tight as people are now getting their email reminders as soon as this particular platform on Expertise TV, um, when uh, it goes on, you get like one last notification. Just making sure everything looks good. Everything looks good. So on your right-hand side, you will see chat, where you can go ahead and chat. If you have any questions, go ahead and post them in there because it'll be easier for me to see. You can go ahead and ask questions anytime during this training. I'm very, very excited to bring this to you. It's called Manifestation Made Easy. So I'm going to get started because it's already the top of the hour. So I am Raquel Soto, and I am Chicago's Caviar Bite Coach. I love doing these kinds of trainings. And so we're going to be going through a little bit of housekeeping first thing in the morning. First thing in the morning. First thing right now. I see Miss Huntley is on. Oh, I love you. Thank you so much for coming on. I did want to let you guys know, thank you so much. I wanted to say thank you so much to Josie Rosales, who is an e-commerce queen. Love her. And she's always doing things to support me and what I do and what I bring to the table. So today, she brought me a bunch of these. So when you guys stay on, and I'll be able to tell who stays on throughout the whole training, you will be getting these Good Life. These were in the Grammys, guys. So Good Life, $200 VIP cards. And what this is that it gives you some $200 worth of savings when you are booking at hotels. And I had actually checked it out. And I have like hotels.com and other things that I check. And I was floored over the prices. And so we want to give back to you. So this is a way we're going to be giving back to you. I'll be sending you or finding you in social media or sending you an email. So look out for that. Your activation card. So all the information is going to be in the back, and I don't have to physically give it to you. I'll do it through social media or email. So thank you for hanging out. This is going to be your $200 gift, your ethical bribe for staying with me the whole time. You are going to be blessed. And there's 3 parts to this. And the second part is just one of those mind-blowing things. I'm going to try not to slip that out. So the reason I wanted to bring this out was because I've been doing these things for years, and I've been doing it in pieces. And finally, over the last couple of months, things have been kind of coming in together. And that happens, doesn't it? That when you are learning something or you're doing something, you kind of have pieces of the things that you're doing together. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, it all just comes flowing together. So as it was flowing together for me, I thought, okay, I have to jot this down. I have to jot this down. Hi, Gregory. And I want to make sure to be able to teach people this, because I've been having such great manifestations of the things that I have wanted. And I've always gotten what I wanted. Actually, I say I'm a little spoiled by God. I always get what I want, always. It's always a matter of timing, not if, but when. If I really want something, if my heart is intent on it, I will get it. And sometimes it's a year out, 2 years out, 3 years out, but I always get what I want, always. And so I'm kind of spoiled that way. But now I want to be able to train other people to do that too. I'm going to move my camera a little bit, just a little bit. There you go. So again, since people are coming in, I'm in my coaching office, and so you might see people walking this way. You might get some bleed of the wall. So just ignore that. So let's get started. I want to tell you what I've been manifesting over the last couple of years. In that way, you can be like, maybe there'll be a piece in there for you that you'll be like, oh, okay, I need that, or I resonate with that. So for the last over 10 years, I have manifested each job that I had to the letter. And I even wanted it to go through a specific recruiter. So when you talk about wanting to manifest something very, very specific, and right now people are just looking for jobs. People say the employment rate is down. It really isn't. It's that people are working 2, 3 part-time jobs. So of course it looks like it's down, but people are not actually working a full-time job. So when I do this thing that I'm going to be training you in, teaching you in, sharing with you today are things that I did to manifest that. Like this last job, it was the pay I wanted, the kind of boss I wanted, the building I wanted to work in, the train I wanted to be in, the kind of money I wanted to make, the kind of expansion opportunities through that job, and everything to the letter, including the recruiter I wanted to work with, manifested. So when you're talking about exact things, that's kind of crazy manifestation. Usually when people start getting what they want, they get a piece of it, some of it, almost all of it, but not 100% of it. And that is 100% of it. I wanted to be in this specific inner circle. And I knew that I knew there was something in me. I knew I had to be part of that group. I didn't know why. I just knew I needed to be part of that group. And I was like, okay, you've got mail, Jesus. In order for me to pay for that. And then it was a couple months later. And literally from when I said it to when I got in, it was like 6 months later. So that's really a short amount of time. And I actually got a scholarship and everything for it. Another thing I wanted, and this all happened pretty recently in the last like 18 months, was when I was taking a boot camp in that September. I said, I really wanted to just be launched as an expert in an international community. And that was end of August, early September. And then in the February, that was 2015. And then in February 2016, I was asked to do a 12-week course called Producing Your Products for this global group. And so they launched me as an expert in producing products because I love producing products and I can do them pretty quickly. And so that was a huge and fast manifestation. So I had written everything I wanted down of what I wanted in that experience, of what I wanted that to look like. That was in August, beginning of September. And within a few short months, I was launched as the expert in producing your products in this global community. And so that happened relatively fast. What else has happened to me? Lots of cool stuff has happened to me. There was a trip that I wanted to go to, a business trip to Cabo. And I knew I needed to go, and I didn't, sometimes stuff, but you don't know the timing or how it's going to happen. And so I kind of just on and off thought about it for a couple of years. And then the year that I ended up going a couple of years ago, it was just like, this is the year I have to go. And I had I think I had 3 weeks to get the, whatever it was, $1,500, $2,000 together so that way I can go ahead and go. And everything just kind of fell into place. And I went. Not only did I go to Cabo, then when I got to the resort where I was staying at, they had there was some crazy stuff to happen with my room. And so they ended up making it up to me by upgrading my room. I got such a beautiful room. It was like right smack in the middle. So it was right next to the presidential suite, but they were more askew. And my room was actually right dead in the center. So I had no obstructions to the beach. So it was beautiful, and I can hear the waves in my room. It was spectacular. It was actually a better view than the presidential view. So yay. So that was a cool thing. Another thing that happened not too long ago, a few years ago, actually, and I'm doing it again for a new place, but I knew that I needed to move and I needed to move quickly. And I just felt that thing like you have to go, you have to, get out of here. And I wrote down everything I wanted, including how much I wanted to pay for rent, how I wanted the light to flow in, the rooms, the floors, everything. And in 2 weeks, I was moving into that place, and I didn't even have to give a deposit. So that works for that. Even like things that you might think are frivolous, like shoes or anything like that. I was looking at some sneakers recently, and I thought, oh man, I would really like, those are cute. I've never had some like sneakers that have wedges. And so I would really like a pair of those. And someone sent me some. And I was like, wow. That was like, 1 or 2 weeks later. I had wanted a leather jacket. You can see it there. And someone actually gave me like 4 leather jackets and all like high quality Wilson leather kind of stuff. Really, really cute, really beautiful. And so it's for little things. It's for little things. And you think, well, I don't want to really waste things on material things, but I really believe that, God is a good God and he's interested in all those details, and if you're interested in it, he's interested in it. There's nothing wrong with you wanting some material things. I'm a mom of 3. So a lot of the things that I do end up going recycling back to my kids or taking care of them in some way. So being a mom of 3, you know how moms and parents are, right? The kids go first. And so sometimes those things that you want that are not bad things, you just want them, you want to treat yourself to something like that, and you may not always have the opportunity. So this actually helps for that too. So whether what you want is something big, or, like a new apartment, a job, increasing your business, having more money, having health. Like I had lost 40 pounds, and I did this as well. I used this method as well to not only lose the 40 pounds, but to maintain it off. So I'm not exercising, I'm not dieting, I'm not doing any of that stuff, but I'm maintaining the weight that I am. I'm a fit tone size 7'8", which is good for my frame. And I've been a size 6, and it makes me look too small. So for me, I think it's too small for me, and I need to eat more calories. I like to eat, so I'll just eat my calories. So it's all of those kind of things. I had even recently 2 of my favorite black purses. Like I used them so much that the handles were kind of wearing out. I'm like, I'm gonna have to get new purses, and new purses manifest like a week later. So again, this stuff, it sounds like, well, that's just crazy. You just can't wish for things and they appear. It almost sounds magical, almost sounds like you're saying abracadabra and then, oh, there it is. But it's really a fun life, because you're not only using it for yourself, you do this for other people as well. When you're in tune, when you're living your authentic life, when you are manifesting and you're bringing up all your frequencies and you're giving off love vibes and all those things, it really does sonar out. So when you think about living in from the inside out, whatever's happening on the inside is going to be manifesting on the outside. So what I'm going to do, because I'm kind of famous for my notes, I have like 4 pages that I'm going to be sending to you guys, and it's already 11 minutes after the hour. So I might be going a little bit fast. Don't worry, you'll get the replay and you're going to get my notes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read some of my notes of what you're going to be receiving, and then I'm going to talk through them. So because I'm a teacher, I love training, and I want you to get every single piece. And this is actually building on top of each other. Everything that I'm telling you is going to build and build and build and build. So I want you just to relax, turn off your Facebook, turn everything off. And today, actually, in my podcast, which I will put in chat, let me get that link for you guys. For those who are watching this in replay, it's on SoundCloud. And you can find me under Carla and Raquel, Carla with a K, and Raquel. And the podcast is called Caviar Bite Motivation Podcast. Today, actually, it was talking about your ideas and how, you need to honor them. And when they come up, sometimes, we ask for things, we're like, I want this or I want that. And then you get this idea, and it kind of flutters up in you. It's very, very soft, but then you don't honor it. You don't follow through with it. But today, because you're here live, or you're watching the replay all the way through, this is an answer to what you've wanted. And so congratulations to you, because you actually follow through. A lot of people get these ideas, they're very soft, or you think, why would I do that? Or why should I do that? Or you kind of talk yourself out of it, and you're talking yourself out of your blessing. You're talking yourself out of the guidance. You're talking yourself out of the progression. You're talking yourself out of success, because you're not following through on that idea that you asked for. And so today, follow through. Just listen to what I have to say. If you want to jot down notes, you can, or watch the replay, and then you can print out my notes and then write on top of the notes if you want. So I wanted to go with the first thing. You will succeed when you do this first. And this is absolute paramount. And this is something that you have to do over and over and over again. You're never going to get away from this particular thing. Your thoughts and your feelings need to be aligned in order for you to see manifestation of any kind. So thoughts are the language of the conscious, and the feelings are the language of your subconscious. So actions are primarily driven by your subconscious. You think you're making choices, but you're not really making choices. You kind of make choices and you don't make choices. So the first thing is that when you are making your choices, you're kind of making them when they are conscious. And then when you feed yourself that over and over again, it goes into your subconscious. And your subconscious is actually what is going to be driving those actions that you're doing. So 90% of your actions are on automatic pilot. So the things that you're feeding yourself in your eye gate and your ear gate is going to go into your subconscious, and that's going to start driving your actions automatically. And you've done this. If you've driven, sometimes you're like not thinking of something else, and you get home and you're like, I don't even know how I got home, or you went out with your friends, or you were doing something else, and you just landed where you normally would go because you've created that habit. You subconsciously just started doing those actions, and you got to where you needed to be. So you do this all the time, except now I'm going to be helping you to do this on purpose so that you can get what you want. You have to remember that your subconscious is your thermostat. So, have you heard the phrase? If you have, just put in the chat, I have. And if you haven't, you can just say, I have not. But the phrase that says, I live your truth, you need to live your truth. Well, the truth is you're always living your truth because you're always living out of your subconscious. You're always kind of, for the most part, most of your actions are automatic. So you're always living the truth that you believe. You're always living out what you believe to be true for you. So when people say, oh, live your truth, it sounds good. And you're like, yeah, I want to live my truth. But the truth is you're already living your truth. You're living out what you believe. And if you are not receiving on the outside what you believe, that means you have internal blocks, but I'm going to help you to get through them today. I'm going to give you some very specific things that you can do to start turning that stuff around for yourself. So your subconscious, right? So let's say it's a thermostat. Let's say this is 70 degrees, right? So this is hold on, block my face. This is 70 degrees, and this is where your subconscious is set. This is how you're going to be driving out. Oh, thank you so much. I'm just being told, good, this is good already. So this is your subconscious. You're set at 70 degrees, okay? And with your will, it's like, where there's a will, there's a way. Yes and no, because your will push you up a little bit. So you'll go above your subconscious, your set point, your baseline. And your will, your actions just pushing through, you'll go above it. But as soon as things start to happen that fall away from what you want, from what you're pushing, you get a bad day, let's say, exercising to lose weight, and you're exercising, so you're pushing and you're pushing and pushing, you get hurt, and now you start to back to that baseline. So your will help you go above it. But if this baseline is not moved up where you want to be subconsciously, things will happen that will push you back to your baseline. So you might have even a bad day, but then you come right back up to your baseline, your 70 degrees. So as long as your set point is 70 degrees, you can go a little bit above and you can go a little bit below, but you will always come back to your baseline. You will always come back to your 70 degrees. So what happens if you want it to be set at 72? 72 degrees is perfect for you. We're going to start going through that in a little bit. So that's what I want you to keep in mind. Your subconscious is a baseline. It is set, and it will always push you, bring back to you, try to bring information to you to justify the fact that you want to be at 70 degrees. So unless you start to change your baseline and say, I don't want 70 degrees, I want 72 degrees, and I'm going to start creating things, pushing things through into my subconscious, so that way the new baseline is 72, you will always come back. That's why you have, sometimes you go through things and you're building a business and you build it up, something happens, and you're like, back to square one, or you go 2 steps forward and 1 step back. It's because it's pushing you. You're going 2 steps forwards, back, and then back. So you will always fall back to your baseline. So the good news I wanted to tell you is that, so let's do this exercise real quick. And you don't have to tell me in the chat, but just, say I or done, or when you're done, or just give it a couple seconds. If you want to know what you really feel about something, again, feelings is the language of the subconscious. You can just say it out loud. Let's say you say, I am rich. I am healthy. I am abundant. I am likable. Whatever you say out loud, how do you feel about it? What are the things that come up? If it's not like, yay, or joy, or excitement, or yeah, that's the zing for you, then you know there's a block somewhere. And the thing is, these things are internal. You can move them. So we're going to help you move them. These are just thought patterns. So if you have these feelings, do not get condemned. I mean, you could have like there's like 20 different levels of feelings that you can have about something. So if you're not getting that zing, like, yes, that's what I am, that's what I want, this is what I'm living for. If when you're thinking about your dream job, you're just not like, yeah, it's just making you feel awake and alive, then something is off. Maybe you just need to change something about that. Or maybe because you've had some disappointments, you're afraid to dream about it. You're afraid to even speak it out because you've been disappointed. Don't get condemned. This is not about condemnation. Your feelings are data points. So just acknowledge them. And once you acknowledge them, you can name it, and then you can move forward. And then you can go to the next step. I'm going to help you with that as well. So how do you begin to align these two? The language of the conscious and the subconscious. The bridge is the heart. So your heart is the interface between the soul and the spirit. So your soul is your mind, your will, and emotions, right? You will prosper and be in health as your soul prospers. The best-selling book in the world tells us that. It's an exact equation. If you want prosperity in any area, you will need to prosper in your soul, your mind, your will, and your emotions. You're going to prosper. It's a given. It's a given. So you need to make sure that you purposefully feed your mind with things that are going to prosper you in the area that you want to grow in the area you want to manifest in. If you want your business to grow, one of the ways is to learn to communicate with different kinds of personalities. So you study. As you're studying, you might hear that. That's just urban living. So I apologize for the background noise. I'm not sure if you can hear it or not. In any event, as I was saying, you will prosper as your soul prospers. So you're investing in your soul right now by being here with me, by paying attention, by saying, oh, okay, I get that. I want that. Or, oh, I can implement that in my life. You always want to take in information, but you want to stop and slow down enough to think about it. Because thinking really is your gift. Thinking is where you end up cultivating the right ideas for you, the right steps for you, the right executions for you. But if you're just taking in and being a perpetual student or always watching stuff or not really paying attention to what you're allowing to come in you, then you're not being purposeful. What is the point of you going to webinars and reading books and going to places if you're not going to slow down enough to think? You have an amazing mind. You're a critical thinker. It's a gift. There is no one who thinks in the patterns the way you do, in the seconds through the brain the way you do. It is unique, like your fingerprint. And so when you are taking things in, slow down enough to feed your soul. Even if you just ask the question like, what can I do with this? How can I implement this? Who can I help with this information? Those kinds of things, even if it's just for a couple of seconds, will slow you down enough to think, to grasp, and to really feed your soul. And then you'll be able to see some prosperity from that. You are also spirit. It is who you are. The spirit realm is what the scientists call the quantum field. It's the parent of the physical. So everything that you ever was and everything that ever will be is coming out of this field. It is that realm. It is filled with frequencies and waves that when they collapse, we see it in the 3D world. Every potential is in there. And as creatures, we are made in the image and likeness of God. We are the only creatures that are made in his image and likeness. And so what does that mean? That means we have the ability to function like he functions. We don't have our powers turned up to the way that he has turned up, but we are created to imitate him. I really believe that's true, which means that you get to act the way he does. Just like, when you're growing up, you start acting like your parents. It's like, you're just like your dad. You're just like your mom. You're just like your auntie. So you start to really act like and behave like your community, which is why you want to be very careful who you're hanging out with. I think it was Jim Rohn. I don't remember who it was. Forgive me if it wasn't him. But there's a quote that says, you are the average of the 5 people that you hang around with most. And so if the people that you're hanging around with, whether it's in book form, webinar form, 3D form, where you're communicating with, or celebrities that you're following every single day, and you're just eating up everything they say, you're eating up everything that they do, and you're eminent, you want to look like them, you want to be like them, you're like, oh, you kind of put them up on a pedestal. You're still having that person as one of your 5. And so if your life isn't reflecting what you want it to reflect, if it's not progressing in the way you want it to progress, I would challenge you to see who's in your community. Who are you following? Who are your 5 favorite people? And if your life is not imitating the great pieces in their life, then, or maybe they are imitating maybe too much. It's a little hard. It's a little tough love, but you might have to change your circle for your sake. And it's not only for your sake. The whole world is waiting for you to be authentically you, 100% you, 100% released you in freedom. And so when you are not doing what you're called to do, when you are not fully engaged in what gives you that zing, and what gives you that fire, where you're like, oh, I can talk about this for hours and it feels like minutes, or I can engage in this activity, or I can do this service, and it's just, I lose time in it because I love it so much, and I just feel like I'm really contributing, then you're not the only one who suffers. Everybody who's supposed to be connected to you suffers because they're waiting for you. Yeah, they're waiting for you. So as we think in our heart, the heart is the interface. So think about the spirit and the soul, and then the heart is interfacing that. It is bridging that thing together. So once your heart interfaces, that's when the two become one. That's when you get, have you gotten those aha moments that I got it, this is mine? It just kind of locks in. No one is ever going to be able to take that away from you. You just know that you know that you know that is true. And no matter what it looks like, that is true for you. That is your new part of your new belief system. If you start going through your beliefs of what you believe is true, of who you believe God is, or, if you believe in God, or who you believe who you are. Or, I have a lot of friends from different races, and, some of them have hangups of, I can't do this because of the color of my skin, because of my gender, because of where I grew up, because, it's always all these negative things. I can't because who says you can't? Your community says you can't, but your community is wrong. Your community is wrong. It's absolutely wrong, because the way you look, your gender, your race, the way your features are, they are perfect for what you were called to do, for who you are called to be. And how dare anybody say, including you, that you are not perfect just the way you are. Now, we all can have improvements, but I'm talking about not using the way we look, or our backgrounds, or our race, or our genders as an excuse of why we can't. There are no excuses. You are beautifully and wonderfully made. And that is the truth. There is a school of thought that says that your subconscious is really your heart. And I do tend to agree with that, part of that anyway, because again, it's that automatic thing, right? So after you do that, you start to automatically, your brain does this. So, right, your set point, back to your set point, 70 degrees. So what happens is that your brain, your subconscious, starts to look for things to justify your 70 degrees. So let's say you're opening up the paper. You grab the paper and you haven't even looked at it. Your eyes actually fluttered through everything. And let's say you land on an article and you're like, that's interesting. But the article kind of falls in line with what you already believe. This is why they say people fall into these traps. And they'll say, every time that I get a little bit ahead, something always happens. Something always happens. I get a little bit in the money and then my car breaks down. I get a little bit of money and then the kids get sick. I get a little bit of money and whatever it is that they say. They make up all these scenarios. And then when it happens, they're like, aha, I told you so. And like they're a prophet or a psychic. Well, yes, you are. You are a prophet and a psychic. to yourself for your own life. You have been decreeing these things every time. And so every time that things happen, you create your subconscious starts drawing that in because you believe that. You are living that truth. You believe in your subconscious, the 70-degree mark, that every time you go a little higher, boom. Every time you go a little higher, something falls back. So you need to get to the point where you're sick and tired of the 70 degrees and wanting to go up to 72. So how do we work with that? How do we, this is the second part that I was wanting to get to. I'm already 29 minutes in, so let me go a little faster. So how do we change that? How do we change the belief internal system? So you can go on autopilot with your decisions. Again, you're going in autopilot. It takes 21 days to create a habit, 90 days for it to become a lifestyle. And then after that, you've reprogrammed your brain. You reprogram your brain to look for things, to keep on justifying your new belief system, to make it rooted and rooted and rooted and rooted. So you're rooting one thing and rooting out another, and there is a power struggle there because it's the thermostat, right? So you set it to 70 degrees and now you open up the window and it's, 50 degrees outside. You've just brought in the outside and the inside. Now all that cold air is coming in. So what does the thermostat do? It starts blasting in more hot air to bring it back up to the 70 degrees. That is how your life is. Whatever you believe in your subconscious, you are continually drawing things, causing things, moving toward the things that would justify you being there. So let's change this. Part 2. This is what I'm really excited about. The hidden secret you aren't using right. What you call yourself and what you answer to. Okay, this is a story about a man who loved God. And a lot of people know this story, but this is what you don't know about it that I was like, say that again. So this guy's named Abram, and God promises him that he's going to be a father of a multitude. He's going to have children. Now, when God promises this man's already 75 years old, and so he's like, I can't have any kids, and my wife is old. even his wife Sarah's just like, really? After my age, I'm going to have pleasure, So we have 25 years later, and he finally has his son. So what happens in between? And the in between, God says, look at the sand. This is how you're going to have it. So he's giving him visuals, something that he can understand. Look at the sand. Look at the stars. So he's going from 75 years old, looking at the sand, looking at the stars, still nothing. And that happens to us, doesn't it? We get signs, we get signals, we get like, this is the way you should be going. This is for you, maybe your sand is that people keep on asking you about that one thing that you love to do, or they keep on asking you about those things that you're really good at, right? So you're getting signals, you're getting like pops here and there, the stars are coming out. He's looking at it saying, I'm going to have all this. And that's kind of what's happening in us, right? We know it's supposed to be happening. We know it's going to happen. We just don't know how. We just don't know when. And then he gets frustrated and he creates a mess with his taking some bad advice from his wife. At 99 years old, after he tries to do it his own way, and don't we do the same thing where we're so frustrated that what we want has not come to pass, so we just get desperate and we will do anything to get that thing, and so we end up causing a mess. So this is what came to me, and I was like, that is so true. This is what I've been doing the last couple months, and it's been manifesting for me. So at 99 years old, God talks to Abram again, and he says, I'm going to call you Abraham, father of nations, which means father of nations. So he changed his name 3 months later. So you're talking about from the point of when God changed his name. When he changed his name, he changed his identity. He went from Abram to Abraham to father of nations. So now he's telling everybody, call me Abraham. 3 months, about 90 days later, right? If you talk about the time when God changed his name and a year later he has the son, there was 9 months of pregnancy. That means there was 3 months before it happened. In about 90 days, Sarah finally gets pregnant. But it wasn't until God changed Abraham's name. Because who you call yourself to be is who you are. You are already that. Are you getting it? Are you excited about that? Do you understand that the moment he started calling himself Abraham? That's funny because you can't, let's say your name is Kathy, you're like, well, I'm going to change my name to Victoria. So it's like victory, right? And if you tell people that, they were like, okay, Victoria. It's kind of weird. But the truth is, you can call yourself that. I am victorious. For Abraham, he already owned everything. So he's telling people to change his name and call him that. Now everybody else is confirming who he is by saying, hello, Abraham, father of nations. What are you calling yourself? Even the greatest book in the world, right? It tells us, let the weak say I'm strong. Let the poor say I'm rich. Are you lying? No. You're calling yourself who you really are. You're calling yourself who you want to be, who you know you're supposed to be. And that is what, when Abraham decided, I came in agreement, I am Abraham. And everybody else started calling him Abraham, father of nations, father of a multitude. In 3 months, refocusing his name, refocusing what was going on with him, it came to pass, and his wife conceived. That is a short amount of time. Now, he did have help, right? People were calling him that, coming in agreement with that. But what if you just did that with yourself? What if you just pick something, just one thing? When you say something that you want, let's say you say you want to, be well. I am healthy. I am well. I am healed. Do you cringe? Are you thinking, it's okay if you're like you want to believe, but you don't believe? You have both at the same time? Just acknowledge that it's a feeling, right? That's in your subconscious. It's a block. You can work through it. But that's why you have to push through and just continually say it. Say it and see it. Because what we say continually and what we perceive, what we see in our imagination, we will have it. We will have whatever we continually say and observe. The thing is, you're already doing it. You're just not doing it on purpose. If you start to evaluate the things in your life and really take stock of what you've been saying, what you've been imagining, what you've been thinking about, you're going to see you've been getting more and more of the same. And so now on purpose, you can rename yourself and decide who you are going to be and what you're going to answer to. Are you going to answer to, I'm sick? Are you going to answer to, I'm poor? Are you going to answer to, I can't get ahead? Or will you answer, I am well? All is well. All is well. Will you answer, I am rich? I am blessed. I am so blessed that I get to be a blessing. I get to overflow. I get to bless others. That's the point of being blessed anyway, to get into overflow so you can give to other people, to help them. What will you answer to? What will you say in your new I ams? Just pick one thing. I challenge you to pick one thing and to start saying that of yourself, especially like as you're waking up in the morning for a few minutes and then saying it, imagining it, really engaging your feelings in it, like you're watching a movie, like you're in a movie, like you're acting it out, and right before you go to sleep. At least those 2 times for a few minutes every single day. And you're going to start to see things shift in your subconscious. That's awesome. Sorry, I just needed to read the what's happening in chat. Love it. I love the engagement. Thank you so much. So last piece, I'm running a little behind. Recognizing your stages. Everything goes through stages. So as you're starting to recognize where you are, you get to walk in it and through it. Everything has a stage. So the first stage is preparing your heart. Your heart, again, is a manufacturing center. It's the soil where you're going to plant and you're going to cultivate. And you do this by being purposeful, again, of what you're feeding your soul on a daily basis. And you're doing great because you're feeding your soul with this good stuff right now. And now you know to feed your soul as soon as you wake up. Bless your soul. I am whatever it is you are. As you're falling asleep, bless your soul. Bless yourself. I am this. God is a good God. I believe he is. I'm a big Jesus freak. And I believe that everything he does is good and perfect, including you. So the more you can recognize the good in your life, and especially the good in you, the more the good in you is going to be able to come out. Second stage is when you start to notice coincidences. So you're starting to come into sync with what you have been reprogramming in your belief system. It's really important. Now, listen, it's really important at this stage to not allow these micro successes to pull you off what you've been doing. Again, it takes 21 days to make a habit, 90 days to make it a lifestyle. So some people get kind of happy at this stage because they start seeing little things spring up, right? And then they let go of what they were doing. And guess what? You went up, right? But because it's not a lifestyle, back to 70 degrees again. So don't be fooled. Don't be fooled. You might think this was good. I'm doing good. Yes, you're doing good. Stay on it. Stay on it. Stay on it. Consistency, diligence is key, and you don't have to be doing it for hours a day. Start with a few minutes. The first 5 minutes when you get up, 5 minutes before you fall asleep, and then you can increase it and start daydreaming. Daydreaming is great because it merges your conscious and your subconscious and your feelings, and so you're now engaging that heart in your imagination. Because when you start imagining stuff, that's why Jesus said, if you imagine to do these things, you've already done it. And we talk about some of the naughty things people do. It's because you're engaging your heart, you're engaging your imagination. What you imagine is not going to be withheld from you. So the more you think about it, you're going to do it. You start to put your feelings in it. Again, your feelings are subconscious, and then your conscious, and now you're merging it with your heart, and then you're going to get it. You're going to get it. This works. We tend to see it and be like, okay, yeah, we see it in the negative. And we can see it easily in the negative, but we really have a problem with receiving it in the positive. You see it all the time. It's happening in your life and the lives of others. So why not use the same principles on purpose for yourself? So third stage is when you're almost there, right? So you might start to feel super excited and focused, and things are starting to mature. They're happening. You're getting ideas and executing them, and things are starting to pan out. And this might almost feel like you almost got it. Like you've actually got it. But don't be fooled. There's more coming. Stick to your initial goal. And if you notice, when things start springing up, it's that 30, 60, and 100 fold. 30% or 60% of it or 100%. The 30% is your second stage. It's your coincidences. It's your syncs. And you're like, woo. And then your 60%, you feel like this, I'm going somewhere. This is it. But a lot of people fall away here because they get so excited with what's happening here. But the last stage is the fullness of what you wanted. It may not come through the way you thought. So you need to stay open. You want to stay focused on the goal, but you want to stay flexible on the how. And that's where people miss it. That's where they don't get like the fullness of what they want, because they want it the way they want it. They make a plan and then they're like, okay, this is the way it's going to happen. This is the way I'm going to make the money in my business. This is the avenue, the specific avenue of how I'm going to generate money, how I'm going to generate leads, how I'm going to generate sales, how I'm going to get better. It's going to come through this path. And when we are very rigid with the how, you might get it that way. But maybe the easier path, the easier way, the faster way for you to get what you wanted with something completely different, something you haven't even thought of, something that's not in your warehouse, something that really would get you out of your comfort zone. And now you missed the timing of it happening faster because you were so controlling over the how. Don't be controlling over the how. When you get an idea, write it down. In today's podcast too, I was talking about how the ideas have a shelf life, and some people say it's 5 seconds and some people say it's a few minutes. The whole thing is when you get an idea, do something with it immediately. And it can be as little as just writing it down, or, get your phone and put it on your phone. Do whatever you need to do, whatever you have to do in order for you to jot that down. It's not so much for you to work on that idea right this minute. It could be something that you need to think about, you need to ponder over, you need to kind of flesh it out in your imagination. Tesla, the inventor, was great about this. He was one of the ones that people were like, I can't believe that your inventions look almost exactly the way you drew them out. And the reason they did was because he would imagine them. He would start thinking about them and start seeing the pitfalls and like, that's not going to work. That's not going to work. And so when he got to that point where his thoughts and feelings really collided, everything was in unison. He can see it. He was imagining. He can see every single piece. Then he would do it. And that's why he has such success in his inventions. It's because he imagined it to the point that he could not tell the difference between what was real in the 3D and what was yet to be. And when he got to that point where he couldn't tell the difference, that's when he created. And that's why everything he made was almost exactly the way he imagined. So that's the last stage. Keep on focusing. One last thing, and then I'll tell you what's going on. Once you say it, leave it said. You will have whatever you say with intention and what you say continually. You're already getting it. You're already receiving this. You're already fully flowing in this. You're just not doing it on purpose. Now you're going to do it on purpose. Your words are filled with energy and they're filled with power. And it will set your course like a GPS. It will guide all people and situations in and through you because you're going to be looking for them. You actually maneuver yourself to those situations, to those people. You'll get an idea like, oh, let me go talk to that lady, or I'm going to go call so-and-so, or you know what, I'm going to go send that person this. And then you talk yourself out of it. Once you say something, leave it said. Let your yes be yes and your no be no. Set the course of your life to the GPS of your mouth intentionally and leave it said. We are made in the image and likeness of God. He spoke to the sun and moon, and they're still doing what he said. They're still doing exactly what he told them to do. And you are made to function like him. So as you speak intentionally, if we're in this quantum field, if we're all connected, everything is made out of frequencies and waves. Everything has a frequency, even you. You are broadcasting something. And you know that's true. You're like, well, that's not true. I don't think that we're broadcasting. Yeah. It's true because you've walked into a room, people were fighting, and they might have been shutting up, and then you can feel that energy, right? You're like, ooh, it's cold in here. Or if you walked up to people who were talking some nonsense, and then they shut up. And you can, even though you didn't hear them, you didn't really see them, you knew something was happening. They're what we call vibes. Or you get a feeling, or you felt something. That is the truth. So now you want to do it on purpose. Start to pay attention. The truth is, again, we are all already automatically doing it. So switch gears. And this is going to work for you. The world is waiting for you to rise up and be 100% of who you are. You need to change some things. And the way the things around you are going to start is when you change you. Oh, start to pay attention, love. Start to pay attention because that is a gift. I'm just reading some people who are seeing this replay. Like, what are you talking about? Sorry, I'm also answering in chat. You feel stuff. And, pay attention. Just pay attention. And all you have to do really is to pay attention and then say, record it. I'll come back to that later if you don't want to sit there. But you do want to capture it and think about what do I need to do with that? Again, thinking is one of your greatest gifts. No one thinks like you. It is your fingerprint. And so take time to slow down and think and to feel, and then go do. So there's a lot more that I want to show you, but I can't because I don't have enough time to do that. I do have a quantum creating class that I am launching that's going to start on March 5th. And so there's going to be 12 weeks. I'm going to show you how to make thoughts work for you and not against you, how to leverage the good feelings and deal with the negative ones like worry and fear and anxiety. We're going to go and get down and get really deep on how your I am impacts you. We're going to talk about the 4 stages that you're going to run into to try to knock you off your path and how to deal with them. Because as you're, again, right, that set point, you're 70 degrees, it's going to try to knock you back down because your subconscious is always trying to pull you back in to justify why I'm here. And so as you're moving it to the 72 degrees, you're moving it up, you're going to encounter these 4 things, these 4 different stages. And they can all happen in one day or they can happen in flip-flop, but they will happen. And you're going to have to learn how to recognize them and how to knock them out. So that way you can shift and make that 72 degrees permanent. So we're going to do that. And the last thing we're going to be going over during this 12-week course is leaving your GPS, not to change your directions. So get ready to shift. It is called Quantum Creating, and it's 12 weeks is going to be, I'm going to put the link in the chat here. So you have that. It is $297. It's in a group format, and so you'll have 12 weeks with me in a group format. You're also actually getting $50 off. So if you pay it, it goes through March 4th, and we're going to start on March 5th. It'll be only $247. So you get an extra $50 off. And don't forget, because you've been here through the whole thing, you're going to get this $200 gift card for VIP club card for savings for hotels. So that's really, really cool. Thank you again, Josie Rosales, for that. Also, I was talking to my sister, and it was funny because I'm like, yeah, I can afford to be generous. If you need, because there are some people who want to do these classes with me, and I've put them on a payment plan. So if a payment plan is something that you need and you want, just go ahead and let me know. You know how to find me on social media, or you can let me know in the chat that you want to discuss a payment plan, and we'll do like $99 a month for you as well. Because I want to make this, I want money not to be a barrier. $99 a month for the 3 months is each month is not bad at all. Actually, these kind of courses, they end up running about, if you do the research, about $1,500. But when I was going through pricing on it, I was like, I don't want money to be a barrier. I mean, you do need to put some skin in the game. You need to go ahead and invest in yourself. But I didn't want it to really be like that's too much or they couldn't afford it. $99 a month or $247 is nothing. You can put that on your credit card. That's not even $25 a week for amazing training. And let me tell you, I haven't even scratched the surface. If you thought you got some aha moments now, wait till you take this class. I am so excited about helping you shift. Go ahead and go to that link. For those who are watching this on replay, I'll go ahead and put this in the replay notes so that you can have that link as well. You can find me on SoundCloud under Carla and Raquel. I do a daily motivational podcast called Caviar Bite Motivation. It's about a minute and a half, between a minute and 2 minutes. So it's a great way to start your day, and I always give you something really good to chew on. Thank you so much for being with me today. It was a pleasure, and I can't wait to talk to you more about the Quantum Creating class. See you on the other side. Bye now.